A very interesting article in one of most influential Russian dailies, the Moskovsky Komsomolets. It tells a very interesting story of the Russian great cardinal, Vyacheslav Surkov, attending a meeting of volunteers, so-called volunteers from the Donbass and Lugansk region, which tells a lot about the kitchen of politics at the Kremlin. Surkov is very close to what Mikhail Suslov was for the Politburo of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. He's the chief spokesperson of the Kremlin on Ukraine, and he's privy to all the secrets that are in Moscow's safe on what it intends to do on Ukraine. He was also next to President Putin at the talks in Paris, and at the time, actually, when President Putin threatened President Zelensky, that if it hadn't been for Russia being present in Donbass and Lugansk, then another Srebrenica would have appeared. The interesting thing is that Surkov tells a story that Russia does not have the slightest intention of allowing the reintegration of those two regions to Ukraine. On top, he says that they have made contingency plans in the event of hostilities break up. A major, sizable volunteer force from the so-called Little Green Man from southwest of Russia, which is basically the military region of southwest Russia, would enter Donbass to help sustain the front line and the battle. Surkov spoke to a number of volunteers and veterans in the conflict of Donbass and Lugansk. Holding the meeting in Moscow is another indication that most, if not all, of the Little Green Men are Russian citizens, which proves Russia's invasion into Ukraine. The meeting did not take place in Donbass, but everybody flew to Moscow. Actually, most of them didn't have to fly, they live in Moscow. Further, Moskovsky Komsomolets reports that the meeting was organized by the first Prime Minister of the Donbass Republic, so-called Republic Secretary Alexander Borodai. Borodai predicted a sharp escalation of tension and deteriorating of the situation in both regions very, very soon. Kremlin's new Suslov also noted that following the meeting in Paris in the Norman format, Moscow has reconsidered or reassessed Zelensky. For Putin now, there is practically no difference between the team of the current president and that of his predecessor Petro Poroshenko. Commenting on the meeting with Surkov, Borodai insisted that no matter what is said in any diplomatic receptions, meeting rooms, corridors, the return of Donbass and Lugansk is impossible. The ex-leader of the separatists in the Donbass region expressed also confidence that hostilities in southeast Ukraine would resume very, very shortly. This piece of news comes only days after President Zelensky proposed amendments to the Ukrainian constitution giving more rights to regions, but ruling out special status to Lugansk or Donbass. The bottom line, from what we read in Surkov's message, is that Russia has no intention whatsoever to return Kiev's control over Ukrainian borders with Russia, and even less intention to stop the flow of Russian paramilitary forces into the two regions. Moscow's new tactics is to fix the state of frozen conflict in the two areas, and given a chance to re-engage in the old adage of referendum and following an annexation. Thank you.